Okay, let's talk about Feng Shui and law of attraction. I want to start with this. Everything is energy. Things have to be in an energetic form before it becomes physical reality. I'm not a quantum physicist, but you guys can Google or go on YouTube and look at quantum theories around, around how everything is energy and everything starts as energy and everything remains as energy. And anything that we manifest in our physical lives is a result of energy. Whether it is positive energies that is resulting in positive manifestations, or it is negative energies that are percolating and then slowly building up its form, building up into physical matter, and then manifesting into our physical lives. So energy can be molded into the end result of whether or not it appears in our lives physically or mentally. Now there's many, again, I'm still learning this. Okay. I'm still an avid student on this journey. This is just my sharing my perspectives. If anyone else has a different perspective or disagree, that's all good. We're all here for a discussion, right? But energy is not just some woo-woo thing. I mean, and it's not a new age invention either. The idea of energy has been in our conversations, in our way of life for thousands of years. To the point where, ancient civilizations in India call it prana. In China, we call it qi. In Japan, it's called ki. Other communities, feel free to put it into other civilizations, other cultures would also have their own terminologies for energy. So it is not a fancy modern thing in terms of how energy manifests into physical reality. And this is also how, again, I'm not like a biblical scholar, but if you read or if you study ancient texts, you also see how what seems like the impossible actually manifests, right? And that is from someone who is a master at manipulating the energy. And I know manipulating kind of has a negative connotation to it. But in this sense, manipulating, molding the energy so that the end result in physical reality is what you want. And so, law of attraction became big like 20 plus years ago, or maybe a little bit more ago, because of things like The Secret and whatever, right? A bunch of other gurus out there talking about law of attraction. But really, law of attraction or manifesting is as ancient as it gets. There are spiritual scholars. There are spiritual or even religious groups like I believe the Christian Rosicrucians, who have known all about, for generations, for centuries, have known all about manifesting by harnessing energy. So it's not a new thing, but it just happens to become mainstream so much more in the last, 20, 30, 40 years. Okay. So coming back to Chinese metaphysics, and actually I wanted to show something to you guys. Those of you who have followed me for a while, this is not going to be anything new for you. Okay. So Chinese Metaphysics 101. Okay. It's all about energy. And in the world of Chinese metaphysics, there is the idea of Tian, Di, Ren. Tian is heaven energy. Okay. And heaven energy, in my path, I have categorized it as energy that is held within our soul blueprint, our life's mission, our past lives, our karmic debt, our ancestral debt, our astrology. What part of the world are you born into? What kind of family are you born into? Your sacred contract. All those things fall under heaven energy and more. Okay? Because there's still so much about the world, the universe, and the galaxies and how things work. And I believe we only know like the tip of the iceberg right now, right? So there's tons of other stuff that could fall under heaven energy, but for this live stream, this is all I'm going to cover or at least touch on. Okay. And then there's Di, which is the earth energy. And this is where Feng Shui and the energy of the land. Sorry, let me just put this down. Okay. Di in Chinese is land, earth. So buildings, homes, obviously are all built from the ground up, you know, with the earth, the ground as the foundation. So therefore, Feng Shui, which is part of the earth energy, can also contribute in terms of, are there going to be illnesses triggered when someone uses this room? Is someone going to make more career or business progression when they use that room? Because Feng Shui wise, there's money energy there. Or is a relationship in that master bedroom going to suffer because the most negative Feng Shui energy for relationship is there? So, but then on top of that, and this is something that I've just recently realized should be included in this earth energy, is the energy of the land. The house, the building that is built on. Are there any traumas that are held in the earth? Was it maybe an ancient burial plot? Maybe hundreds of years ago, we've lost record of it, and a developer just comes and built a whole residential project on top of it. Was it maybe a warpath and lots of blood was spilled? Was it maybe ancient sacred ritual area, ground, ritual space, and so on and so forth? And that is also why different parts of the world would have sacred spiritual powers to it too, right? Like we have the Stonehenge in Europe, we have Uluru in Australia. All those places, there is a vortex of power in that's contained in that land. Okay, so that's earth energy, and all that can also impact your experience in that area. Okay. And then the third one is man energy. Okay, Ren. That's us. Our mindset, since we're talking about law of attraction, our mindset is there. How the energy of our emotions. What is the energy of our thoughts? What is the energy in our chakras? What is the energy in our auras? What is the energy in our action? What is the energy in our decision? Do we have a lot of fear, a lot of worry, a lot of trauma that is keeping us stuck? All that is under man energy. Okay? And any blockages in any levels of these three energies can slow down our progress in attracting the life that we desire. And any healing or self-development or self-awareness or instilling more discipline in yourself or doing forgiveness work or starting meditation, getting calm and clear in your mind, working with higher power to be clearer in what is my purpose in this life? What is my mission? Why am I here? Once you open yourself to the healing work, and once we open ourselves to working with the divine, because we are divine beings, we just forget that we are, then all this energy, whatever that is blocking, will start being released layer by layer. It's not an overnight process. The law of attraction teachers that promise you that change is overnight, not to say that it's impossible, it doesn't happen for everyone. Because everyone has different blockages that they need to address, different healing aspects they need to heal. Right? So everyone, when you get into this manifesting journey, some people will get results faster. Some people will get results a little bit slower. It just depends on on the amount of work that needs to get done. Okay. So how did I get into this realization? Obviously, more than a decade ago, I got certified in Feng Shui. But at that time, my life wasn't where I thought it would be, right? And I've always been I've been on the self-development path since I was 15. And so my brain always goes to, okay, what else needs to be addressed? What else needs to be healed? What else can I do? What else am I not seeing? And so I remember so there's this guru from India that I, very loosely followed. And I found out that he's got like a disciple in Toronto, and that's where I'm at. And she would, I think every few weeks she would do a fire ritual. So people would come to her house and we would get together and do a fire ritual together. And I remember, and I was doing my chants and all those stuff. And I remember at the beginning of one of the meetings, and I know some of these guys have been going there consistently, week after week, month after month. And I was standing there by myself. I went by myself. I didn't know anyone else, but just waiting for the event to start, I heard one of the conversations between two people. They're like, "Oh, hey, how are you? How's that thing going?" And the person replied and said, "Oh, it's really slow. I'm getting really stressed out about it. I don't know what else I'm missing." And I was like, wait a minute. These guys deal with their karma, deal with their whatever other stuff so much more diligently than I have. All that was heaven energy, right? Karma, past life, all that. They had their astrology reading done and all that. Why are they still struggling? So that was one clue. And then me having, just learned classical Feng Shui, I also did Feng Shui, and I maxed out on that. And things were starting to shift, but not as quickly as I wanted it to be, if I were to be completely honest, right? Opportunities were starting to open up, but it still felt like I was hitting my head against the wall, in terms of, at that time was in terms of the financial issue. I felt like I was not where I wanted to be financially. And so I heard about, energy healing, energy psychology. So I went, okay, I must have a mindset block around money somehow. So I went through that. I got myself certified. I went through it. I healed whatever mindset blockages I had around money. And things started getting a little bit better. But still, I needed more. I was craving and needing more breakthroughs. And it wasn't, so that's when I started to do Because at that point I was doing my my karmic work. I haven't started doing my past life healing just yet, but I was doing my karmic work. I was working as much as possible with my astrology in terms of my strengths and weaknesses, right? So I had my heaven energy, slowly working on that. And then I had my Feng Shui done as best as I could at that point. I didn't have the advanced Feng Shui that I do now, but I did what I could there. And then with the mankind luck, I did the mindset work, the law of attraction, because that was the time when The Secret came out. And I'll tell you why I don't like The Secret, because I think it left out a big, well, let me tell you now. The problem I have with The Secret franchise is they don't talk about action. Sure, you can visualize what you want all day, every day. You can feel it. But if your action, your mankind energy doesn't align with that which you are visualizing, then the manifestation will be harder to come through. Okay? So that's my beef with The Secret. So how do we use Feng Shui and law of attraction together? And before I go into that, I want to make it very clear that Feng Shui is Feng Shui. Law of attraction is law of attraction. They are not interchangeable. And the problem with all these fast food Feng Shui information out there, they are confused. The people doing these online articles or these YouTube videos or whatever, they themselves are confused in terms of what's Feng Shui and what's law of attraction, what I call law of attraction decorating. Okay. And then in turn, they're confusing those who are consuming their articles and their videos. So the people consuming that information further confuses or mixes up Feng Shui with law of attraction decorating. Yeah. Okay. So, for instance, if you want to attract a relationship, how many of you have heard that to attract a relationship with Feng Shui, you put a pair of lovebirds or a pair of mandarin ducks by your bedside? Put it in the comment if you've heard of that before. Or if you want money, you have, I don't know, a sailboat laden with gold and have the sailboat sailing towards you. How many of you guys have heard of that? Or again, going back to money, you have a three-legged toad with money, a coin in its mouth. When you go out for work, you have the toad facing out. When you come back from work, you have the toad facing in. And all that. Okay. Those are not Feng Shui. That is not Feng Shui. But can they be law of attraction decorating? Yes. Think about that sailboat, for instance. The idea that a sailboat, like a merchant boat, you buy a boat and then you just filled it with gold ingots and you put it in your living room. And if you see it, that boat, and I'm saying if it gives you a sense of prosperity and abundance, does that work in changing your energy around money? Yes. But is it Feng Shui? No. Putting the lovebirds or the mandarin ducks by your bedside. If, again, the key operating keyword is if, you look at the mandarin birds or the lovebirds, mandarin ducks, and you remind yourself that your perfect one is out there and that you are making your way towards him or her, then those lovebirds is part of your manifesting tool. But it's law of attraction decorating. It's not Feng Shui. If you guys have heard of other stuff, put it in the comment, because I want to hear, or I want to see what else you guys have been exposed to. And you're like, I wonder if this is Feng Shui, or I wonder if it's law of attraction decorating. What about wallet? Now, I've followed Abraham Hicks for many, many years now, probably 25 years at this point. Abraham Hicks, they mentioned putting like a $50 note or a $100 note in your wallet. You don't spend it, but then at least every time you open your wallet, you have a $50 note or a $100 note there. And the idea of that exercise is to slowly shift you into getting into that abundance of, I always have money in my wallet. I always have that $50 in my wallet or that $100 in my wallet. Is that Feng Shui? No. It is law of attraction. Okay. Oh, Sandy's saying another one is to put animal figure of your, hold on. Of your peach blossom sign in particular direction. That is actually Feng Shui. It's not very strong, but that is actually a part of classical Feng Shui. Okay. Food dogs. What about food dogs? That's a cultural thing. It's not Feng Shui. Okay. So, going back to, so hopefully you guys will see a difference. Okay. This is a short live stream. There is only so many examples I can use. But Feng Shui is when you're able to calculate the energy of a space in order to find your 3 or your 4 money corners, in order to find your 3 health and relationship corners. Feng Shui is when you place your desk to face your money direction. Feng Shui is when you place your bed to face a good direction or be in a good direction for health and relationship. Feng Shui is designing your home to be in alignment of classical Feng Shui practices. So I know in Feng Shui there's a lot of thought about or talk about putting stuff, but Feng Shui really is in harnessing the energy. Like right now, if this room that I'm in is completely empty, but I am sitting facing, let's say I'm sitting facing south, which happens to be one of the money corners in my house, which happens to be very auspicious this year. It doesn't matter if the room is empty. Me sitting facing south for my house, because it could be different for your house, means I'm harnessing the qi through good Feng Shui direction. But how do I combine Feng Shui with law of attraction? One way is to, once you figure out where your 3 or 4 money corners are, for instance, you can do your meditation or your visualization or your chants around manifesting more financial abundance in those areas in your home. You guys see the difference? Okay. The other way that I love to combine Feng Shui and law of attraction, and actually that was one of the questions, is vision board. What is a vision board? A vision board, the original way, is to have like a board, like a cork board or a bulletin board, and you put up pictures of the things that you desire, right? Maybe a larger house, maybe nicer clothes, maybe a corner office, maybe a nicer car. To put those on a vision board. I've had vision boards on and off the past, 20 years, and they work, but they're not Feng Shui. They are, vision boards are a powerful law of attraction tool if you do it right, because a lot of people do it wrong. And how do we combine Feng Shui with law of attraction? You put your vision board, so let's say if it's a vision board relating to finances, you put your vision board in a spot in your home that is strong for money. You put your vision board, let's say if it's related to travel, you put it in a part of your home that has potential for travel. Let's say you have a vision board for losing weight. Then you can put it in a part of your home that has energy for health and vitality. Now, the energy can be the permanent energy of your home, meaning once you move into that house, that energy doesn't change. Or you can put the vision board based on the annual Feng Shui energy. So even without Feng Shui, science already tells us that energy is constantly moving, it's constantly shifting. So in Feng Shui, I know I just mentioned about permanent energy that doesn't change, but permanent energy can also be applied on top of annual energy. So this year, the energy for 2023 there's a different set of energy that you can tap into. So you can put your vision board, you can do your meditation or your visualizations to tap into those directions. Okay. And I know I'm giving you guys like really, high level overview of Feng Shui and law of attraction, but actually let me just quickly see if I can share. Okay. You guys see this 24 mountain compass, right? So the compass has 360 degrees, right? A full circle here. Okay. And every year, oops, I don't know why it's not letting me do it. And every year, each of these 24 directions would have specific energies for things that would align with whatever it is that you want to manifest. All these 24. Okay. So you take this 24 mountain compass, overlay it to your layout. Once you figure out, let's say the energy for money that is strong in South 2, for instance, right? Then you figure out where is the South 2 direction in your home. That is where you can put your whatever law of attraction decorating you want to put over there. You can use that area more. You can put your vision board there. Okay. And then next year will be different. And the year after that will be different because you follow the changes of the energy, of the changes of the chi, ki, prana. Okay. That is one of the proper, I don't want to say proper way. You can put your vision board anywhere. But if you put your vision board in a specific spot based on Feng Shui, you're giving it that boost. So every year, there is a set of energy that you can tap into. And I was saying earlier, some homes can activate for money in the South, but specifically South 2. And why do I mean some homes? It really depends on the period and the facing of your house. Not everyone can activate for money this year. Not in the South. Okay. So then if based on your period and your facing, you are able to activate the South. And how you know that, if you want an easier way to know that, you go into annualfengshui.com and join me in my annual training. There's a lot to cover there. I'm not going to cover that in here. But if you are able to activate the South 2 area, then this is where, and you put this compass over your layout, this is where you can do your visualizations for money, for visualizations for more career opportunities, business opportunities. Put your vision board there. Put your law of attraction decorating there. Okay. So that is how, even though Feng Shui is its own practice and law of attraction is its own practice, it actually has a very beautiful marriage once you put them together. And I've practiced it this way for many, many, many years. And I can tell you, even though it's a bit of a pain in the butt sometimes because you have to kind of shift things around every year, but you can ask those who follow me in my annual training, they start seeing shifts. so much more than before. And in fact, you still can't see me? I don't know why. But you saw the screen before though, right? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to do an overlay when I edit this video. I don't know why I can't share it. But not the compass. Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry. Technical glitch. Would be on eCam. Yeah. Okay, you guys are gonna have to watch the replay, unfortunately. Then I'll put the overlay there. So anyway, I'm not gonna try to, attempt my whatever technology glitch, because you guys saw the first screen earlier, so I'm not sure why it didn't allow it. That's weird. Anyway, just see me in my Lotus background. But so I know this is just a preview, right? But this is, for me, it's a really important message, because a lot of the Feng Shui articles that I see out there, it really is nothing more than law of attraction decorating. So it's misinformation, it's misguidance, and I don't know if the authors are even aware that what they think is Feng Shui is not Feng Shui, probably not. But it is a very important distinction to make. Because when people say, oh, I do Feng Shui, I have a three-legged toad, or I have, what is it? A bowl of fruit on my dining table. Having a bowl of fruit on the dining table is not Feng Shui. But if you have a bowl of fruit that has really expensive fruit in them, right? Like, I remember when I was younger, how I knew our family was doing much better is when my mom started buying imported fruits. Before it would be like, bananas, papayas, soursop, whatever, local fruit, right? Every Sunday when we go, grocery shopping. But once money was starting to get good, that's when my mom would buy apples and grapes, and stuff like that. So if those things, seriously, whatever brings you joy and whatever gives you the energy of prosperity and abundance, or however it connects you to your desire, use it. It's not Feng Shui, but use it as law of attraction decorating. I remember years ago, I got a client consulted me on his headquarters as well as his house. But in his house, there was a picture, a huge picture of a lioness with her cubs, right? And the lioness was just like laying down there, and then the cubs were there. And he asked me, is this bad Feng Shui to have a photo of a lion? Actually, it was a lion and a lioness. Okay, a whole family was there. So I asked him, when you look at that painting or that picture, what kind of feeling does it give you? And it says, it makes me feel like, that my family is protected, that we are a whole, happy, healthy unit, that they are safe and they are thriving. So then I said, then keep it. It's not Feng Shui, but it's law of attraction decorating. You guys get what I'm trying to, or, yeah. Having a bowl of fruit collects flies. I guess if you don't eat them. How about wearing Piao bracelets? Save your money. I have another video in my YouTube channel. You guys can take a look. Save your money on those lucky charms, lucky keychains, lucky rings, lucky pendants, lucky necklaces, whatever. Save your money. It's not Feng Shui. But if you wear it and it makes you feel good, then maybe it's not a bad thing. But it works not because it's a lucky bracelet. It works because it makes you feel good. And again, going back to Abraham Hicks, If you want to manifest anything, you must be in a feel-good space. You cannot manifest more money if you feel bad every time you think about money. You cannot manifest love if every time you see a loving couple in your mind is like, that will never be me. You cannot manifest better health if the doctor or your nutritionist is giving you advice and you're not following it. That's your mankind luck. Right? Intention is also really important. Intention is the mankind energy. Okay? If we manifest something bad, especially me coming from a Feng Shui background, is it always bad Feng Shui? No. It's not always because of bad Feng Shui that something bad happened to you. Sometimes it could be your mankind energy that needs a little bit of zhuzhing. Sometimes it's events that had to happen because you're neutralizing your karmic debt with regards to someone or something. Right? There's many different layers of energy, as I shared earlier in today's call. And all those will ultimately determine what happens in our lives. So will doing Feng Shui on its own change your life? No. It will help you shift. It will help you open the doors. But how much of a progress you make after you do the Feng Shui is still up to a lot of the heaven energy and your mankind energy. Yeah, Xiong Mary says karma and trauma play a big role too. And in fact, that's very interesting that you made a comment on that, because I am actually delving more and more into helping my clients clear trauma. I'm at the tail end of my trauma healing certification right now. But, and I mentioned this to another student earlier today, is I kind of knew this, but it was when I started my training that I realized whatever trauma that we had while we were in our mother's womb, the trauma that we had as we were being born, going past our mother's birth canal, the trauma that we had since birth up until, actually not even since birth, since conception, all the way till we're 7 years old, whatever trauma that happened in that time impacts our whole life. I had no idea until I started going into my own childhood, going into my own birth traumas, that I realized, oh my gosh, this is why I'm stuck in this area. This is why it's hard for me to feel good about a certain thing. And so fair warning, I know you guys have known me as a Feng Shui person all these months and years that you've known me. I will be talking more and more. I know I've been talking about past life more in the recent couple of years, but I will also be talking more about trauma as well. And I am actually, so I guess this is my way of kind of, coming out and saying that I will be stepping into claiming my role as a healer. So from now on, I have been told I'm a healer even, I want to say 20 years ago, maybe more than that. And then once I got certified in Feng Shui, I always thought, okay, I'm healing spaces. That's my way of healing. But then the more I work with the divine, the more I work with archangels, the more I work with higher dimensional beings, the more I'm being nudged and pushed into being a healer. Obviously, the question is, do I let go of Feng Shui? Because they are certainly like shoving me into being a healer. And the answer is no. I'll still be here for Feng Shui. But above and beyond healing a space, you guys will be hearing me talk about healing traumas, childhood traumas, post-traumatic stress disorder, healing hormone rebalancing, clearing your chakras. And I don't just work with 7 chakras. I work with 15. There's more chakras, but right now I'm trained to work with 15 chakras. Clearing your auras, getting rid of entities. There's so much more about energies, because sometimes, I know this is a little bit out of topic now, but I'm kind of on a roll. Some of you guys may feel like, why do I feel this way? This feeling doesn't belong to me. Or why do I think this way? I don't think this is my true thought about something. Do any of you guys feel like that? It's not the majority, but there's definitely a small amount in our society that feels like that. Sometimes it's from our childhood conditioning that other people's like, oh, you'll never amount to anything. You're worthless, you're unlovable, like all those things, all those programming affects our mindset, right? So when you're trying to do law of attraction, you still have tapes playing from your past, especially in your childhood years, that don't belong to you, but they're stuck there. Sometimes the energy is put on you through curses, knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes, and I don't know how weird I want to go into in this live stream, but sometimes there are entities around us, entities in our energy that are actually kind of manipulating us as well. So, Veronica, you feel like that all the time? Yeah, then you definitely need to look into that. And so that's been my training focus now. As much as I've been certifying people into Feng Shui, I've been a student myself in terms of aura healing, in terms of chakras, in terms of crystals, in terms of all those other stuff. So that is where my focus is going to, it has started shifting to that. I'm never going to let go of Feng Shui. It is still one of my major loves, but I'm going to start combining them, because sometimes if you've maxed out on your Feng Shui placements, then you need to do the other stuff. Are you saying that there are spirits attached to us? Not all the time, but sometimes. Yeah. Yes, there are big factors. Healing and clearing will allow your blessings to come through. You gotta do the work. Now, can these entities be addressed by classical Feng Shui? No. Yeah. Feng Shui is Feng Shui. Feng Shui has I don't want to say it's limited, but Feng Shui has its own role. It's like, you're not gonna have an accountant be a police officer for the day. They're not trained in dealing with weapons, right? Feng Shui does Feng Shui work. But the healing and the clearing is a separate thing. But can they be done at the same time to complement each other? Yes. Yeah. But Feng Shui can't get rid of, there are Feng Shui practitioners that can clear a house. Actually, I clear houses. But is it Feng Shui? No. It's energy work. Feng Shui is just another form of energy work. But Feng Shui has its roles. Hamad, thank you for reminding that. Yes, I think I mentioned that. I need to quote myself a little bit more. Feng Shui is energy, but not all energy is Feng Shui. Let me repeat. Feng Shui is energy, but not all energy is Feng Shui. So, just a very recent example. I have a someone who's been joining me in my annual trainings. She couldn't sell her house. So I referred her to one of my students who got certified in Feng Shui, who also happens to be a real estate agent. So I said, hey, do you want to take on one of my, annual Feng Shui clients? Help her get her house sold. And so she did, so my student, the real estate agent, we got together. I gave her some recommendations. She actually did most of the work for the Feng Shui placements, and I gave some additional recommendations for the house. And then, they got it staged. It looks so much nicer. The listing looks great. And last week I found out the house sold. I think over asking even, which in Toronto market I think is a little bit of an anomaly now because it's a little bit of a dip in the real estate market. But it went over asking, and so I checked in with the home seller, and she's like, she feels so relieved, obviously, now that the house has sold. But and I didn't mention it to her before, but I did. When a house doesn't sell, especially if it checks a lot of the boxes, right? Right location, maybe close to public transit, maybe really good schools, and so on and so forth. If it checks a lot of boxes, but it still doesn't sell, sure, you go in and you use Feng Shui, you activate the money corners. You place the elements as you need it. But what I didn't tell her, well, she knew I was working on the energy of the house anyway. So I went into the energy of the house itself, and there were entities attached to the land that the house was on top of. So it wasn't very aggressive. So it was fairly easy for me to clear that. And then that, plus the Feng Shui, plus the staging, plus, a good pricing strategy, all that, heaven, earth, man. Okay. All that alignment connects with each other, and then the house sells. Okay. Is it true that possessing certain stones or gems can ward off evil intentions towards you? Yes, but be careful. Because the crystal industry is such a moneymaker nowadays, it's so much harder to find real stones. Most of them are actually lab created or manipulated somehow. And you actually want to use raw stones as much as you can, not the polished ones. The more polishing it gets, the more its true nature kind of gets polished off, pretty much. Resins. So, for instance, citrine or citrine, however it's called. And I was sad when I found out about this, but because citrine is known as the money stone, the prosperity stone, it's become so popular. But there's more demand than supply. And so what do the manufacturers do? They take amethyst, which is so much more available, the purple one. They take amethyst and then they bake it until it turns yellow. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that? Yeah. And then they sell that as citrine when it's not. It's actually amethyst. So if you're using stones or gems, you have to be very careful with the source, because it is such a big money-making industry that people don't care. Like, the manufacturers don't care. They just put out whatever stones that the market wants and take the money and run. I had a friend, she got rose quartz bracelet, and then after a while she was like washing her hands and whatever, and then after a while the pink dye started coming off on her wrist, and the stone started getting white and white and white and white. They dyed it pink. Why not just raise the price for the real stones? Actually, the true sellers, they do sell it at the right price. But the downside is they're hundreds and thousands of dollars. That's the problem. Real stones aren't cheap. I don't have it here. Actually, I lost one of my bracelet in Bondi Beach. I don't know why. I used to have another crystal bracelet here. But that is now in the sea. But this is nephrite jade. I actually don't remember where I bought it now. But I think I paid $200 for this. Yeah. I wasted a lot of money doing my fertility struggles. The healing work worked more. Yeah. And you guys will hear me talk about that a little bit more. So just in case you're wondering why is Safrina talking about fertility, is that, remember when I said I am claiming my role as a healer? My focus will be actually on fertility. And in fact, on fertility for women over 40. The bigger the medical challenge, bring them on. Because why? Because the healing, the real healing has to happen in the quantum realm. The real healing has to happen energetically and not just in the superficial way. It has to go deep. The real healing has to be consistent. So it's not just like 1 or 2 sessions, right? So, I'm actually really excited because, one of my student and client and now friend, and that's what I love. Like my students or clients in the end become my friends. That's, that's the best result possible, right? But she has been struggling. She was struggling for 10 years to get pregnant. It was, so they did, I believe, 1 IVF round, when we first started working together, which wasn't the best timing for me because I needed more time to help her shift the energy, right? So the first IVF didn't happen because we just started working together. It wasn't enough time to work on her. But the second round, they got a call from the clinic and it was a positive. I believe they got it on their 10th wedding anniversary. So they started trying since they got married, pretty much, right? And now she's 2 weeks away from her due date. And I just saw her belly bump, her baby bump. It was amazing. And what did we work on? Did we talk about nutrition and stuff like that? Not to say it's not important. That's like mankind energy, right? That's your physical body. Sure, you need to watch out for the diets and take the supplements. But we worked on, not even the Feng Shui so much because, she also took my certification course and we and kept up with her Feng Shui. So that's already addressed. But we went into her past lives. And that's the thing. What she told me was like, oh, I had a past life reader before. And she gave me she told me about all this traumatic stuff that happened to me with regards to me being, losing my kids, having my kids killed right in front of me in all my past, well, not all, in a lot of my past lives. And then I asked her, how did the past life reader heal it for you? She said, well, nothing. After the reading, that was it. I was like, okay, I gave you your past life reading. Thank you. Bye-bye. It's like a doctor telling someone they're diagnosed with cancer and then not telling them the protocol to heal it. That makes no sense to me. So we did many sessions around that. We did hypnotherapy because I'm certified in that as well. You guys have no idea how many things I'm certified in. It's almost crazy. My friends laugh at me because I take course after course after course after course. I've invested a lot of money and a lot of time in my certifications. But anyway, we worked on her past lives. We worked on, and one of the mindset, okay, law of attraction here. One of the mindset was, why would I want to bring a baby into this world when I don't feel like I belong in this world? But she never told me that. It wasn't until I did a past life reading and found out that she was from a different galaxy. And she's only been a human being on Earth for, I want to say 3 to 5 lifetimes. So she's still very new as a earthling. And when I said that, she was like, oh my gosh, Safrina, I never knew why I've always felt like that. My whole life, I felt like I did not belong here. So why would I want to stay? Why would I want to bring a life into this world if I don't belong? I don't feel like I belong. So we had to heal that. Gave her homework, gave her, hypnotic tracks and all that. And so, And so the second IVF took. No surprise, because I think it was almost a year and a half between the first and the second one, I believe. Don't quote me. So we had time to kind of like shift the energy. Yeah. So that's going to be my focus, in that women over 40 who want to get pregnant, usually the medical doctors just kind of like gave up hope on them. Like, don't even want to work. Like, forget about IVF. You're too old. Forget about using your own eggs. You're too old. You have to use a donor egg, right? All that. So for women over 40, most of them, the doors slam shut in front of them. But the medical industry is just a tip of the iceberg in terms of helping someone get pregnant. The larger piece that is missing is that heaven energy and the earth energy. The earth energy, which is the Feng Shui, I want to say is maybe 30% of that. But the heaven energy, your past life, your karma, the rest is probably 70%. And then the other 10, which is your mankind energy, is the mindset around pregnancy, around parenting, around children, and also, supplements, diet, lifestyle, right? So all that still has to come together in order for the end result to come faster, stronger, right? So, George, aliens, like, we have yet to discover just how much more life forms are out there. In so many of my past life readings now, I get into my clients' records where I don't even hear languages, because the language is just so foreign to my human ears, right? But we have come from many different places, you guys. Yeah. Okay. Talking about womb energy, I was the fourth kid and my mom didn't want me. I never knew that. So I had to deal with womb energy trauma. Even if she never told you, the energy is there though. And you're right in her womb. We absorb our mother's energies so much while we're in there. All the conversations that happened outside of the belly, we hear all that, right? The arguments our mom would have with other people, things like that. We absorb all that. IVF clinics focus on their success rate. That's why they don't focus much on above 40 women. They want to be high success rate. And actually, IVF clinics, most of them, not all, most of them, their success rate is getting the client pregnant, but not on live birth. That's the catch. That's the catch. Yeah. Getting them pregnant, sure, that's a success, but the real success is a healthy live birth. And that's the statistic, that's the data that I want to get. Okay. Anyway, I think this is way off tangent from Feng Shui and Law of Attraction. I am so sorry, but just bringing it all back. Everything is energy. Whatever it is that you want to manifest in your life, be it you're attracting more money, attracting a loving relationship, attracting a healthier body. You look at the chart, heaven energy, earth energy, mankind energy, and you must make sure that you do the work on all three levels of energy. Just one level is not enough. Even 2 levels obviously is better than just 1 level, but the best way is the holistic way, which is heaven, earth, and mankind energy done all at once. It feels like it's a lot of work, but it actually isn't. Okay. How do I do my healing work? Eyes closed, hands on my lap. Externally, it feels like I'm doing nothing. Right? The energy work is, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah. Okay. It's hard to quantify the amount of energy work when all you see is someone having their eyes closed, maybe moving their hands, doing Reiki or whatever. Right? So even if my mom wanted a girl but got a boy, have some effect in my current life? Yes. Yes. And on that note, another reason why IVFs fail, okay, not all, but a good portion, is the baby spirit has already chosen the parents. And most of the babies, before they are even conceived, they've already decided either they want to be a girl or a boy. Or they might decide to even, what do you call that? Identify themselves as something else. That's fine too. But it is not uncommon when an IVF process fails, is because, let's say the one that got transferred, the embryo that got transferred was a boy embryo, but the baby that wants to come through is a girl. And the spirit baby's like, I'm not going into that egg because I don't want to be a boy. I want to be a baby girl. Yeah? These are things that the medical industry, obviously, they don't even believe in it. Let's be frank, right? But when I tune in to ask the spirit baby, hey, you told me and your mom that you're ready to come through. Why didn't you attach yourself to the egg during the IVF process? And it's been more than once that I got that answer. Okay. So that's the thing. The downside, again, I'm not saying no to IVF, but there is the downside to IVF in that, it's the doctor that chooses the egg, that what gets transferred, right? So yeah. So that's the thing that we need to kind of keep in mind. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining. We still have a good, amount of people here. That is amazing. I'm going to leave you guys here. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any other questions around Feng Shui and Law of Attraction and how you can use them together, feel free to put a comment, and I will edit this live stream, and I'll put in the compass part. And you guys can watch the replay on that one. I mean, the ones who took my certification, you already know. Oh, by the way, if you are interested in doing vision boards and combining it with Feng Shui, you can join me at FENGSHUI-CONFUSED.com. I think that's the URL. Let me just quickly check. FENGSHUI-CONFUSED.com. Yeah, FENGSHUI-CONFUSED.com, and you can learn how to do vision boarding. And the way I do vision board is very different, very in-depth, and you go much deeper than all the other superficial vision board stuff. Okay? And then once you do your vision board the way it should be done, then you also learn where to put them in your house. Okay? In terms of the Feng Shui energies. So this is my only offering that combines Feng Shui and Law of Attraction together at the moment anyway. So thanks so much for your time. Have a great day, and wishing all of you prosperity and abundance always. If I am new to you and you love classical Feng Shui, meaning real Feng Shui that gives you real results, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, because I will be giving new videos every Thursday, and make sure you don't miss out on that.